program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome everyone to a wonderful misty morning out here all the way in the African bush. We are very excited to have you, and this is Safari Live.
Ready. Standing by.
Five, four, three, two, one. You are live. You are live.
Beautiful, misty, cold morning all the way out here in the African bush. We're actually quite excited to come out into the coldness because it's looking very pretty, very mystical, very full of mysteries. A good way to start the morning to see what there is possibly ahead of us as we start looking for all the animals on yet again another beautiful day. And I think Ferg, who's on camera with me today, has yet again found us a very artistic shot of the beauty that we're looking at. So always nice to stop and watch the pre-sunrise because there's still no signs of the sun. And I could swear that I feel like the mist has been getting thicker in the last few minutes while we've been here. Now, all we need is a beautiful male lion to come past us and then just start moving around. Beautiful. We can't even see the horizon too much for that matter as everything starts going into the mist. What a wonderful day to start the morning. I'm sure as the sun starts coming out, everything's going to start dissipating and then it'll be a bit easier to see everything else. My name is Ali, and on camera with me today, like I said, is Ferg. And we, the little Pac-Man, I think that's what you want to be, is it?
There's a duck.
A duck, I'm sorry. How dare I? As you all know, this is a live and interactive show, so we love hearing from you. So if you've got any questions or comments, please do send them through using the hashtag SafariLive. We'd love to get back to you. Now, there are a bit of plans in motion. I think Ferg would like to see wild dogs, so today we're going to try and see if perhaps there are any signs of the wild dogs coming around. I think we have very good news from the Sands Pack that they have at least 7 puppies in their den. So yeah, we're very excited because, well, I don't think we're going to be able to see them anytime soon because they're still in the den with the mother, and unfortunately they're in a property west of us where there's pretty much no commercial traversing, but we do know that they are there, so we're all very excited because it's tiny, new, endangered puppies into the world to help put the population numbers up. So good morning, very good news, and I think so we're going to try and look for them, and hopefully, who knows, maybe some lion tracks, maybe some leopard tracks. We'll see what is around, but in the meantime, let's go over to Tristan, who I'm sure wants to say hello and just tell us what he's up to this morning.
Well, good morning everybody, and welcome back to Djuma after a day's break and a day's rest. It's wonderful to be back out, especially in such a beautiful, misty, full of atmosphere morning. It is a wonderful way to start the day. Now, as Ali mentioned, my name is Tristan, and on camera today I have Sebastian, and like I say, both of us are sitting shivering, and so we decided we'll stop and enjoy the beauty of what is around us and try not to freeze our backsides off because it is quite chilly this morning. Now, the plan is for the morning is that we're going to head northwards. We're going to try and see if we can't find the Nkuhuma Pride that crossed back yesterday. They were all over the place, and so hopefully we will be able to find them. They were left sleeping just to the east of Sydney's dam last night, and so we know that sometimes from there they'll head towards Gallagher Shortcut or maybe Aubrey's Road, and so I'm going to try and get onto their tracks as soon as possible and see if we can't find them. There was also reports of a Mvula up this side, so it's going to be a good morning of trying to search for 2 of our favorite characters that we have on the show. Now, for those of you who don't know who the Nkuhumas or Mvula is, well, Nkuhumas is our resident pride of lions, and Mvula is a old male leopard that has become nomadic but is still endears many of us to him by just being a little charismatic individual who has spent lots of time in this area and given us lots of incredible sightings. Now, it is live, it is interactive, so we would love to hear from all of you as well. Remember, hashtag Safari Live on tweet, and we'll be able to then answer any questions you may have, or, well, just say hello from wherever you may be watching. Now, so far on Via Tele-Access, there's only been the lion tracks from yesterday. Now, the nice thing about having mist like this is that it makes tracking, funny enough, a lot easier. And I'll tell you why, is because what happens with tracking in mist like this is that the mist settles onto the road surface and it almost makes the road quite wet and damp. You can actually, it's not so much on the vehicles, but earlier you could see that there was parts of the road that were wet. And when the animals, or let's say in this case lions, step on top of that wet soil and lift, they actually expose dry soil. So where they've walked looks like little dry patches, and that's when you know that it's really fresh and is on top of this misty situation that you see now. So this little bit of mist will help us with our tracking experience and to be able to age tracks a little bit, and so hopefully we'll be able to get some tracks to work with that we can track down any animal that has decided to walk around at this stage. Now, hopefully, Ali and Ferg will be successful in their wild dog search, because that would be nice. So Jason, you're wondering where is Mfumo? Well, Jason, where are any of the Birminghams at the moment? Because Seb and I were just talking about it, and we were discussing how normally at Ingas, because Ingas is a little bit removed from the camp and slightly higher up, we often, in pretty much most nights, hear the Birmingham males wherever they may be in their territory, because from that point you can hear them quite clearly. And normally we get a situation where one of them will walk past in, the sort of 2-3 day period. We'll at least get some of the male lions coming past, and so far nothing. We haven't heard anything this week at all, so I have no idea where the Birminghams have been. I know 2 Birminghams were on a buffalo kill up in northern Buffalo's Hook, right up against the Manyaleti boundary. Which 2 males it was, I have no idea. They apparently were also mating with one of the Torchwood females. The Torchwood Pride was seen yesterday also on Buffalo's Hook, and so I don't know if maybe Mfumo is up that way. We heard male lions also calling quite far to the southwest yesterday morning, and we know that the Birminghams have been starting to go into Londolozi, and the Majingalans, by the looks of it, from yesterday I saw some photos of them, were in a big scrap with somebody because they have blood and cuts all over their faces. Now, I don't know who that was with. Maybe it was the Avoca males, which are 2 new males that have been hanging around. Could have been with those Masapiri males, but we don't know. And so it's interesting to see what's happening, and hopefully we'll be able to decode the mystery, because hopefully the Birminghams will come back into somewhere where we can find them, in particular Mfumo, because we haven't seen Mfumo for a long time, as well as Nena has also been one that's been not really seen very often recently as well. So, not Nena, sorry, Nsuku, because Nena was one of the last ones we saw actually. So hopefully the boys will be back soon, and it's just interesting to see how the Nkuhumas haven't been around as much as they were at one point, and the Birminghams, because the Nkuhumas haven't been around as much, also have been sort of a bit vacant from the area. But I'm hoping that they will indeed show face shortly. Now, there's a little game path that I want to check here quickly, because I thought I saw a track, and while we do that, I believe Ali has found some stripes to show all of you.
We do, some stripes hiding behind the bushes. Isn't this a beautiful stallion? Funny enough, we were looking for tracks on the road, so we were focusing so much on the tracks of the road, and we were, it's like, oh my god, the zebra tracks are so fresh, I wonder where they are. And because we were so focused on the road, we nearly missed them because we didn't look up, because they are right next to the road, so yay. This beautiful individual over here, I think this is a stallion for the harem that's just hanging at the back. I'm sure you can see some of the stripes all the way in the distance. There we go. A few females, and I think, judging by the size, a few youngsters as well. And I wonder if perhaps this is not the same herd that we've been seeing that had those 2 young fighting boys. So I think there's one that could definitely be it. Unfortunately, I didn't memorize the stripes, so that was a lack of judgment on my part. How else am I going to recognize them? But Good morning. Everybody's starting to eat some grass, and I think today is going to be particularly yummy for them because it seems like there's a lot of moisture up in the air because of all the mist, so everything has a bit of water and some dew, rather, on top of the grass. So maybe this is making everything a bit yummier, maybe less dusty than what the animals have had to endure the past few weeks or the past few days. They all seem quite happy to be eating away. Like this beautiful stallion over here, feeding on the short grass. Going all the way down, hey? Hello, boy. Now, perfectly chewing, making sure that everything is made into smaller pieces, and then back it goes through their digestive system. Now, zebras are very much like horses in the sense that everything that they eat will go down into their stomach, and they're not like other creatures like the giraffes and the buffalo that regurgitate their food if it's not broken down sufficiently to then try and chop it down into smaller pieces with their teeth again. So they actually don't have a rumen. They're not considered ruminants. Zebras, rhinos, and elephants, they are all what we call hindgut fermenters. So in a very simple term, if I can put it this way, they will have a multi-processed digestion where they will have some enzyme breaking down the food that they're ingesting, and then in their hindgut, or in the, let's say, the last bit of their digestive system, that's when they're going to have the fermentation process that's going to then further break down the food that they're eating to be able to get all of the nutrients from what they've eaten. Your head is very hidden. Kylie, you're wondering how the zebra's mane stands up. Well, that's the normal way for a zebra's mane to look like. Normally, if they're not in good condition, then the mane starts flopping down onto the one side. Oh, look at that. I think somebody's showing off a little bit. But I think it's because their hair is also quite short, especially if you compare it to the one of a horse. So just like people with short hair, normally quite spiky, and it looks up, and as it starts growing longer, then it starts going onto the side. But they are beautiful, aren't they? With those, it's almost like a piano, the white and black on the zebra. And they're definitely one of my favorite creatures to watch out here, just because I find those straps mesmerizing. And if you see them like this in their natural environment, you see all the greens and the yellows and just how quickly they stand out, at least for us, that we can see in color, or our eyes can see in color. But if you imagine a predator, it's not that obvious, as they would see pretty much in almost like a monochrome tone shape, so they would not stand up as easily. I think even the light is starting to make that little bit of a mane on top look reddish. James, you're wondering at what age the males start developing those erupted canines that they've got on the on the roof of their mouths that they use for fighting. Well, they start getting them as soon as they're born, and when they're about a year old, I believe they start erupting, but because they start fighting from a young age, just to be able, like we saw them the other day, just to develop all the skills that they need. But the records show that only when they're about 4 to 12 years old that they are actually able to successfully fight and earn the rights to have their own harem, or protect their own harem from other males that might try to steal their females. So, and for you guys, or for the ones that don't know, male zebras, they have tiny little canines, or they call them erupted canines. So it's not quite like the ones of lion or a leopard, or even of a baboon, but they're slightly smaller, perhaps like the ones that we've got as humans. And because when male zebras fight, they don't only kick each other, but they bite each other. And normally they tend to go for the groin area, so they can be quite aggressive towards each other, and quite nasty, if I can put it that way. Very aggressive creatures when it comes to trying to either create their own harem, or to try and steal a harem from another stallion. So I think the earliest records show that when they're about 4, they can already earn the right to have their own females. But I think it's also condition dependent, how old the other male is, if there's more competition in the area. I think maybe 4 is still a bit young for them. But how beautiful are you? Looking very stunning this morning. Kobe, you're 15 years old and you're wondering how large can a zebra group get. Well, it varies depending on an area, but on average, the ones that we see around here, I think the biggest group that I've seen is about 10, 12 of them. So it'll be probably definitely just one male, but about 4 to 5 females, and each female will have their own foal with them. So I would say normally the groups that we see on average are about 6 to 8 zebras. And I think this one that we're looking at, I think we counted it the other day, and it was about 10 of them. It's hard to tell from here because they're all hiding away in the bushes. And now when you see those big aggregations of zebra, like for example we will, once all of these creatures start arriving in the Mara, which apparently they already have, which is very exciting for all of us, you will have smaller groups, so all of the little families that will associate sometimes in bigger groups for protection. But not necessarily does it mean that they're all together. Oh, that's a beautiful, typical African screenshot, isn't it? Patrick, you're wondering if zebras sleep on their feet. Yes, they often do. They'll go down, and normally when one starts sleeping, or while the group sleeps, there's one that's going to be away, just keeping guard, making sure that there are no potential predators coming around. And funny enough, you can hear them snoring often when they sleep, because they tend to enter quite deep sleep, maybe more than in comparison with some of the other creatures around. Are you looking into the mist, boy? Seems like the mist is finally starting to definitely come down in some other areas. Maybe in front of us. Look at all of that mist. It seems like while we've been enjoying the mist and the way it's been covering us, it seems like Tristan has been able to find the sunrise. So why don't we go over to him and see what beautiful sunrise we've got today.
Indeed we have. We found the giant golden orange orb as it's coming over the bush and through the mist. And the mist is definitely starting to lift quite quickly now that the sun is out. But you can see still very pretty. And at one stage just now we were driving past Sydney's dam and it was so white we couldn't actually even see the dam from the road. So it was very, very thick in places, and quite nice that it's starting to lift a little bit because it's allowing us to actually see what we're doing, which is very cool. But isn't that beautiful? And you can see it's definitely got that very wintry feel to it. So you've got those dead branches, mist, and then that golden light that you get in the winter months with that dry white grass is very, very pleasant indeed. What a time to be alive, as Megan would say. Megan, who's in FC, she always uses that phrase, what a time to be alive. And well, Megan, I think this morning is a great time to be using that, because being out here this morning has been so good. It's so refreshing the soul to be out in a misty, cool morning. Very, very nice indeed. Now, still no sign of our Nkuhuma Pride coming this way. So hopefully we'll find some sort of sign at some point. So tigers, kicks, mist or fog, same thing, just different parts of the world. So mist is a very British term, fog is more from the United States area. But we have what we are looking for. Tracks for the lions. So, Seb, on the right hand side here, you can see going down the road, it just looks like one big solid mess on the right, and that is because 1, there was a hippo that walked there, and 2, there have been lions that have walked there. Now, I'm going to show you a lion track just so you believe me and don't think that I'm completely mad. But hold on, Seb, let me get out quickly, and hopefully there's no lions right here. There is little Franklins, but no lions that I can see. Right, Seb, I need to show you a track that you can actually see, and I'm trying to see the best, clearest one possible, but maybe this one over here, Seb, is going to be better. So here we go. there is one that you can see. Now this whole area is just covered in tracks, so we know that the Nkuhuma Pride is 5 females, 6 cubs, so there are a lot of feet that moves around here. In fact, there's 44 feet that are being walking around here, and so this whole section is covered in those tracks. But this is a track for an adult lioness. You can see quite big in relation to the size of my hand, is about, I'd say, 3/4 of what my hand would be if I had to put my hand flat. Then those big round toes that are unmistakable for lions, and then the 3 lobes at the back. Now you can see the front foot stepped and then the back foot on top of it and cut the toes off. So these lions were moving quite quickly when they were walking, and that's probably because the slope of the hill. We're starting to head on a down slope, which means that they sometimes then start to brisk their walk a little bit, much like us as humans, and then that back foot will overtake the front foot as they move a little bit faster. But this is super exciting because it means that the Nkuhuma Pride at least walked this area, and if they've come from the north, I would be very skeptical that they would have turned back that way unless something drove them back. So I think we're going to find them on Gallagher's shortcut. That's where I'm going to call it, because they're heading in that direction, so hopefully that's where they're going to go. But they were lying down here, and maybe, just maybe, we're going to find them somewhere in this area. Now Aubrey is trying to help me, so I just want to quickly let Aubrey know that I found the tracks for these lions going this way, so that he can help me in the area, because he was going to check northwards and I don't want him to go too far north if they're moving down this way. And this is exactly where I had the lions the other day when we had that incident with that leopard, and where they chased the leopard out, and we had the leopard running behind us. So I wonder if they haven't gone to the same place, but they're still heading straight down the road. Aubrey. Yeah, kitties. Come on. Still walking on the road itself. Aubrey, come in. No, I forgot to plug myself in, so Aubrey's not going to be answering me, and well, Chantal might be talking too, and I'm going to be missing her, so let me plug myself back into the system. Tracks for these Nkuhumas going straight east on Buffelshoek cut line, going past this shortcut to Shortcut Gallagher. I'll keep you updated if they turn south. Now it looks like they were going back and forth here, so I need to just check. No, looks going as though it's going down onto the shortcut Gallagher. So let's go this way. Yeah, here we go. They were all here, so hopefully they should be somewhere on this road. So Christy, you're wondering how the lions distinguish who it is that is calling. Well, much like us as people, we recognize different tones, different sort of ways that we speak, and it's the same thing for the lions. The lions are able to work out that that is a different tone, it's a different member of a pride, it's either a male or a female that's been calling. Now, I'm sorry, I'm just checking here. It looks like the tracks go down the fire break. Yep, there we go, there the tracks are. So this is where we had them the other day with that leopard incident, is right where we are now. So I'm hoping they'll be somewhere here. Maybe they've gone up towards the Mvubu side. We know they like it there as well. But it's encouraging at least that the tracks are on our side. And I'm super excited to be able to spend a misty morning with the Nkuhuma Pride. So hopefully we will find them here somewhere. There's more tracks going this way. Now, I don't think we need our lights anymore. It's exactly the same as us in terms of the way that we talk. We can recognize each other's voices quite easily, so it's the same thing for them. They're able to work out who is who and be able to then tell what's going on and who exactly is calling. But these tracks are still going straight on this fire break. Now, of course, this could be tracks from last night, and I could have to go quite a long way to find them, but at least we're on the tracks, and it is so beautiful. Just look at this grass color with the highlights in the background. It is so pretty this morning. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Now what we need is the Nkuhuma heads just all popping out through this beautiful white, or not white anymore, gold colored grass. Wow, what a way to start the day. This is awesome. Lion tracks, golden sunlight, mist. Can one ask for anything better? I don't think so. Now, while I try follow these tracks and see where these lions ended up, let's go to Ali and see where she is and what she's doing and whether or not she's had any luck with wild dog tracks.
Well, we're still alive. We've just gone down into the coldest part of all of Djuma and we survived, but I think Ferg and I are still quite cold. My goodness, wow, look at that. Yes. Must I go back? Alright. We got super excited because look at, I know you guys were looking at the sunrise with Tristan, but look how the sun has already risen and we still can't really see it. And if you look to the branches of the tree on the left, you can see that they're all still covered in mist. So it seems like we're heading on to more cold weather, but I don't care as long as there's a lion somewhere in this mist. That would be beautiful, wouldn't it?
Ali, can you edge back?
Back, yes I can. For your artistic shots, anything. Further, okay. I don't know if I had to turn on the car for this. More? A little bit more? I'm trusting Ferg's artistic view of the sunrise because I think he can definitely see things in the camera before any of us do. But how beautiful is that? I think, thank you for directing me around this time. Because that is wonderful. That is fantastic. Oh, with the little bird flying around. And it's funny because this is exactly the way we're looking at it now, so it doesn't look different on real life type of thing. You know, sometimes the colors can be a bit different from what we see in the monitor, but this is exactly the way it looks. It's almost like it's a muted background. Everything seems to have this veil upon it, and it might take the sun a little while before all of this comes out. I mean, doesn't this look like from some sort of a movie? And that's a very beautiful acacia. Oh, this is stunning. Well, I think all of our freezing, all the 10 seconds that we had to go through that dip were definitely worth it. Because I think the temperature dropped about 20 degrees there. Dear watcher, you say that this is just awesome. I agree with you. I think that's why we both got so excited as we came down and just saw it in that general direction. I think it's been a beautiful morning so far, and like we said, it's quite cold, but I think we get so excited because there's just a thick veil around everything, and it gives it that little like mystical look upon things. And I don't know, I get super excited on mornings like this because just it's so beautiful, and all it takes is just being brave and going out and facing the cold. Oh, Ferg, you outdid yourself. Mary Kay, you say that it's Catter Day today. I'm sorry, is that right, Chantel? Is it what?
Captivating.
Captivating! I'm sorry, you said it was captivating. The guys were talking on the radio and I couldn't hear everything else, and I think they said cat, so I got excited. Captivating, I think that's the best word for this, because you can't hardly look away, and it's just mesmerizing, and you just want to carry on looking at it. That's wonderful. And then we've got the beautiful gray go away. I don't think there's a taller tree where it could get actually away from the mist, so it's up there probably because it feels a bit warmer than everywhere else. And funny enough, I think the warmest place for the birds would now be on the ground, because the mist is right up to their reach or wherever they want to go, because all of the top of the trees are covered. So I think all of the birds are pretty much like us, just waiting for this mist to go, for the sun to start shining properly and just dissipate everything else that there is around us while they start their day. I can't get enough of that view. I think it's wonderful, with all that light coming through. And of course we are looking at one of our very common species of trees, the umbrella thorn. Evil Eel, you're saying that this is the best sunrise ever. I think it ranks very high on my list of sunrises. It's just, there's something about it. And funny enough, look at that, all with a bit of mist. My goodness. Now it looks like dun, dun, dun. Maybe, you know, we would need like a background soundtrack or something to make it a bit more dramatic. I think this is wonderful. I'm very happy we were brave enough to go through the dip, Ferg. Well done us. Yeah, definitely paid off. And funny enough, I don't think the mist is going. I find it's a bit mistier now. I don't know what's happening with this weather. Alright. All we need now is for Tingana or Hosanna or Shongili or pretty much anyone to jump onto that branch. So come on, guys. No? Still too cold? Naughty leopards. What a beautiful morning. This has been just stunning. Well, I think well done, Djuma, and thank you, universe, for giving us such a beautiful start to the day. You, very bright ball of fire that gives life to everything in this planet. It is crazy to think so, hey? That if it wasn't just for what we're looking at, for this incandescent ball that it's blinding all of us if we look at it for too long, is what actually allows for life to be in this planet. For us to be here, for all the animals to be here, all the trees, all the plants, and that without it we would likely not. Well, this and the atmosphere. Rajni, you're wondering who's behind the camera. Well, it's Ferg. Ferg has been on full form today. I mean, look at this beautiful scenes that he's showing us with all his camera work. I think the arty side of you is really, really good for all of us. I think we all admire it, and we are very happy that Ferg can show this to us all.
Really?
No, you're very welcome, and I'm not just saying it. We tried playing around with some of the cameras and tried to focusing, and let me tell you, even trying to focus with this camera is not easy. It's not an easy task.
I can focus with the camera.
I can focus with the camera. Daniel, you're 13 years old and you're saying that you feel so privileged. I think we do too, just to be able to share this with you guys. It's definitely puts everything into perspective, don't you think? I do feel sorry for this poor grey go-away bird, though. Yeah, I don't think he's quite captivated by the sun. He's more likely like, oh, please, just I'm cold.
Go away.
Yeah. I think just judging by the tails, it seems like maybe some of the dew has gotten onto him and just trying to warm up a little bit. But fear not, little guy. I'm sure we're not going to have this beautiful mist for too much longer. I think it's... Well, I keep saying that it's going away, but I'm not really sure that's exactly happening, because every time I turn around, there seems to be more and more. Alright, we are going to leave this beautiful sunrise and carry on, see if perhaps we can find anything with the mist, because that would be pretty fantastic. So we're going to carry on down the road, see if we can see anything else around here. Hopefully a beautiful leopard on top of a marula. But let's go over to Tristan and see how his tracking is doing. I believe he's hot on some very fresh tracks. Oh my god.
Well, we are indeed, but it's been a roller coaster of emotions, and I keep getting like sad and then happy and sad and happy because they keep going back and forth on the boundary. And so one minute they're on our side, the next minute they're going into Buffelshoek, then they're coming back our side again. And well, it's just not good for my heart, I don't think. The old ticker is getting very stressed out, and hopefully they're going to be here somewhere. Now, their last tracks that I had were back there coming towards the fire break, but I haven't found anything coming out. Just a leopard track that is walking down the road here. Now, is the rest of them joining yet? No, this is still just one track that I can see. Maybe the rest are here now as well. I think the rest have all arrived on the road now too. Let's just have a look here. No, just the one leopard track that I've got. Now, I wonder if this isn't the track for Mvula, because he was also in this area. I'll just check nicely, because this track goes straight down the road, and the Nkuhuma Pride's tracks was also coming back this way, so I'm pretty sure they're around here too. We've just got to look out for them as well. Now, I want to check quickly at Gabi Cutline and see maybe even making their way down towards the dam cam. So if anybody's in that area, well, watching the dam cam, you can let us know if you see any signs of Seb, because this is just one leopard track, but it's definitely not the tracks we had earlier. Earlier I had tracks for the whole Pride again coming this way. Now let me think which way I'm going to check here. So, alright, all the way from Texas, hello, how are you? I hope you're having a wonderful evening, day, whichever it may be. And you're wondering if lions tend to follow the same path. Well, no, not always. Lions do move around a lot in different areas, but there are certain roads that they will follow just because it leads them to a certain place. So, you know, if there's a water point, often they'll use that particular road to follow that water point and to get to that water point, should I say. So they do sometimes take regular kind of directions, and there'll be certain roads that will lead to them using that. But often you'll find a situation where they zigzag as they go. Now, I don't find any tracks for these lions coming this way. Maybe I missed them crossing over that fire break, which I would be surprised about, because at the end of the day, those tracks were... I mean, that road on the fire break was quite soft, so I would imagine that I would have seen the lions' tracks there quite easily. But let's just go back in that area. Maybe the lions are lying right next to the road and I've just missed them. It does happen sometimes. I have had it before, where you get so focused on the tracks that you kind of follow, and you don't really look up, and they're all lying kind of in front of you. But nothing that I can see here. They must have gone back to the side. So Marissa, you're wondering, has anyone seen the little cub? Marissa, no one has seen the cub yet. Unfortunately, there's been no sighting of it that I've heard of. Here in this area, we haven't seen anything. So no sighting yet. But hopefully there will be a sighting at some point, and we'll be able to see maybe it coming out. It's concerning though, because the Nkuhuma Pride has been spending so little time in this area that it is very possible that that cub may have not sort of been made it. Although the thing is that we just don't know where that cub has been put at the moment, so it might have been taken with them, and so maybe, just maybe, they've ended up in a situation where it's just been hidden off of our property, and that's why we're not noticing the tracks. Now, I'm just reversing backwards like this because, well, I'm going to try and check a Gari cut line, because no tracks coming back this way. Aubrey's in front of me. See, he just cut in on the same tracks that I cut in on, and so he's looking around over there, and I'm going to go this way. But I have a funny feeling these lions may have cut straight across into this block, and I just missed their tracks crossing. It's quite seldom that happens though. Normally lions, when they walk on a road, they'll kind of just move a little bit along the road and then cut off it. Very seldom they just go straight across. There we go. Now let's go check Gari cut line, Seb, because that's where the last tracks were heading. I didn't see anything coming from the fire break going towards Buffelshoek Dam, but you never know, they might have cut a little bit further south than where we saw them. So I want to just quickly check this to make sure. And this is how lion tracking goes. It's a process of elimination. You kind of got to keep looping around trying to find where their tracks went. Maybe I missed them there. Hold on, I saw something now. Nope, nothing that I can see there. Now Aubrey's going to just check towards Mvubu side, see if they didn't go that way. And we also know is that they do go up quite a bit. Nothing that I can see here. Nope. We're going to have to probably head back that way and check, or hyena area. I just heard some alarm call, as well as a grey go-away bird. I just wanted to turn off and listen.
Alright, sorry, wrong road. Sorry, seems like Tristan has had a bit of an incident with the off, and we are just checking around this area because it seems like there are some very fresh leopard tracks on the road. So I have a bit of a suspicion that maybe Thandi and Tamba are around here. So maybe it's just worth checking all these roads around, because I think their tracks are quite fresh, judging by the fact that their tracks seem to be on top of the most recent diurnal animals that have been moving around. Just want to see here maybe. Oh, now we've got these leopard tracks coming back down here. Want to see? I'm not sure. Wait, let me just have a bit of a quick look. Sorry, guys. Look like leopard tracks, but not really. So I'm hoping maybe we're gonna pick up more things around this road, because there's still a bit of mist, so hopefully we'll be able to find them. And I know it seems like Thandi has been moving into this area, or further into this area, a bit more than what she used to, so maybe she'll be around here somewhere. Alright, I think we're gonna go through a bit of another dip. Are you ready, Ferg? Because this is gonna be cold. Alright, some more tracks here. Doesn't seem like we've got any tracks in this area. It's fine, we'll do a bit of a loop around and see if perhaps if we can pick up some more tracks. If not, then we'll carry on going all the way down to Twin Dams, which was our original intention. And maybe they'll be somewhere around there. Hopefully that'll be quite nice. Are there any stations close to Twin Dam area? Alright. Maybe not. I was hoping that some of the other guys that are out and moving out and about would be close to Twin Dams, but just to see if they perhaps could start checking around that area while we make our way there. Just to see if perhaps the tracks carried on going in that general direction. But it seems like everybody else is up north, just trying to give Tristan a hand in finding those Nkuhumas, who've definitely sort of have moved into this area. So my hope is for Tristan to find them. I'm sure he will try very hard. And he is a good tracker. I think unfortunately he wins, and he is a better tracker than what I am. But don't tell him that. I will never forgive you guys. Because then he's just going to shove it in my face every single time. Alright, this is also a very good leopard area, so come on guys, come back to us. Alright, definitely no tracks around here. So, let's go face the mist once more, Ferg. I said that it was leaving us, but not really. Alright, but good, because this gives us another chance to see if maybe we can find a beautiful leopard on top of a marula in this beautiful mist. I think that would be first prize for this morning. Oh, and I haven't plugged myself in. No wonder it's been so quiet in my ear. Clearly I got so excited I forgot everything else. See, sometimes it gets a bit tricky. Sorry, Chantel. I got excited and I forgot that I needed ears, not only eyes. JD, you're wondering what the temperature out here is? So it's 57 and 14 degrees. But again, I don't feel it's 14. Like, do you agree, Frank? No. I would say it's more like 8. Yeah, like it's definitely a lot colder than 14 and 56. Maybe later when there's no mist, maybe in an hour or two. Yeah, definitely not. I think, like with everything, I'm sure it also happens where you leave JD, that you'll read what the temperature is like, and it'll be like, oh, it's quite warm, and then you step outside and you're like, no, definitely not. So I remember when I was little, they didn't used to have that, temperature is blah blah blah, but it feels like this other number because it takes in some other factors like wind speed and humidity and all of these other climatic pointers. So I think today also we should have a feels like 8 or feels like colder. Feels like no. Alright, we are on a road called Ingwe Alley, but nothing around here. Kobe, you're wondering which predators use the mist to their advantage. Well, I would say pretty much all of them do, in the sense that perhaps their prey species won't be able to see from too far away, so it'll allow them to stalk and get a bit closer to them, that they could perhaps do it in some sort of other occasion. But also lions normally in very misty mornings, because the sound travels a bit further in cold air, often you will hear them roaring. Not this morning, obviously, because this morning we're looking for them, so why would they help us? But normally lions, you hear them roaring in the mist, just as a way of advertising their presence in a particular area and their territory, and that it's already been claimed. What? Alrighty. We are going to carry on looking perhaps for these leopards. We're going to go back to the spots where we had the first track, see if we can find them there. But in the meantime, let's go to Tristan, who's still looking for lions. Oh look, it's 2.
We are indeed. So we've done now a big circle. No tracks coming out of this block. We found where they have gone in, so we're going to try and find those tracks again and just drive with those tracks and see where they go, because ultimately that's going to be the easiest way to hopefully find the Nkuhuma Pride, just having a good rest in this nice gold grass, because they're not resting anywhere near the road. So we're going to try and see if we can't just use their tracks to drive in on, because I can't really walk too far without being close to the vehicle. It's going to be a little bit easier if I just do it that way. So hopefully they're not too far inside here. It is a really large block that they've gone into, and one that's going to be quite tough to find them in if they're still walking. So I'm hoping that they've just laid down and I can use their tracks from there to find them. But interestingly, they've done a big loop. Basically, they went up to the north, came back, and then from there they turned south and then west again, back on their tracks, and now south into this block. So I wonder if they weren't looking or trying to hunt, and that's why they sort of have this erratic pattern that we see at the moment. Now I've got to just try and find where exactly they turned, because it should be somewhere here. Aubrey was the one that spotted their tracks coming this way, so that's why I don't know exactly where they would be. Eliezer, you asking whether the lions ever charge at the vehicles. Well, not that I've seen. I mean, sometimes you have a situation where maybe a lion will get a little bit upset and will charge if there's a carcass or if it's a lion that's new to this area, and then they can sometimes get a little bit of sort of nasty about things. And I've seen 1 or 2 kind of come at cars, but never really seriously. It's more kind of in a sort of postural threat, and then they sort of back off and leave it there. Now you can see their tracks in front here going up and down. Now I'm just trying to work out exactly where they cross south, but I see one going in here Oh, I don't know. They could be anywhere. It hasn't looked like a sort of a train of them going through. You can just see that they've been walking up and down in this area. Now, I think the best bet is probably just to see if I can't follow this track that goes south into this block here and see if they're not lying here. There's a big monkey orange thicket that's on our left-hand side, and on our right-hand side, should I say. And we know that the Nkuhumas sometimes like to go into that, but let's try follow these tracks as best we can and see where they take us. Now, it's going to be a bumpy, rough ride, and hopefully, well, we don't go into a sinkhole like we did the last time we were in this block, because we almost lost Rusty that day. Rusty went into a deep, deep, deep sinkhole, and it was a bit of a problem. So, I'm going to have to watch out for that too. Now, where would you have gone, Lions? And Rusty also this morning is being a bit of a pain when it comes to reverse gear, which is not ideal when trying to negotiate areas like this. Okay, Nkuhumas, it's time for you guys just to pop your heads up right here and mean that we don't have to go too far into this. The problem is that the grass is the perfect color for a lion at the moment, so really tough to see. Chitty Chatty Meg, you're wondering if the Birmingham boys are expanding their territory. Well, Chitty Chatty Meg, it seems like it. It seems like they're starting to make inroads into Londolozi, which is an area that they very sort of seldom actually spend time. So it seems like they are heading in that direction and are starting to kind of move that way, which is interesting because obviously we know that that's... there they are, in front. There we go, we found them. That's awesome. So they're right here in front of us. High five, Seb. That's so cool. I'm so excited. I love it when we find things after tracking. It always makes me so much happier. And there our gamble paid off just to come into the block and have a look because, well, you can see they weren't very far off the road actually, and we would have done lots of circles around trying to find them had we not just come this way. So that's so cool. Hello, girls. Sorry, Meg, I got a bit distracted by seeing the lions, but it looks like just 3 females. It doesn't... Oh, here the cubs are. Hey, guys. So I think the Birminghams are slowly starting to expand, given that they have not actually been down to Londo's before, and they're starting to spend more and more time in that area. Now, you can see Aubrey's here as well. He came from the southern side, and we literally just bumped into these lions at the exact same time. So as I saw them, he saw them, and that's why he's also here, because he came from the southern side just to see if they hadn't gone more towards Vubu Gallagher area. But there we go, Nkuhuma Pride, and it looks like they're going to start getting moving. Shame, and there's one female's got badly injured on her back. Look at that.
That one?
No, to the right. You see the one standing up there? She's got lots of new cuts all over her back. There, that one there on the left. So she's got a big fresh wound on around the tail area, and it looks like one on her leg as well. So I don't know who they've run into recently, but there's definitely a few signs. And we know that they went down towards Londolozi, and I wonder if they didn't have a little run-in with somebody else down there. But that's the same female that had that big cut the other day on the inside of her leg, which looks like it's been opened up again. And so interesting to see. Now, in terms of cubs, I can see at the moment only the 2 lying closest to me. And then I can see 1, 2, 3, 4 adult lionesses at this stage. But there are some more cubs behind this bush that I'm just battling to actually see at this stage. So it seems like everybody's there.
Yeah, these cubs here.
There's more cubs there at the back that are just tucked in behind the tree. So I think we've pretty much got most of the pride here. What is very evident is that they are looking quite skinny, all of them, so a meal would be a good thing for them. And it just shows you how quickly they digest and process food. We know we saw them on a zebra kill on, when was it, Thursday last week, so that's not that long ago, and already they're much skinnier than when the last time we saw them. They've sort of digested all of that food very quickly, and they've traveled a long distance, so they would have burnt quite a bit of energy by going all the way down towards Londolozi and back, and that's why they're looking a little bit on the skinny side. So I think these lionesses are going to be very much looking for food this afternoon, that's for sure. They're going to try and get out and try and see if they can't find anything. And even this morning, it's cool enough this morning to allow them to actually start moving around, so I wouldn't be surprised if we do see it. The cubs look as though they're not going anywhere. They're all tucked up in tight little balls and are not interested in really making their way anywhere at this stage. But the females are alert. One female is still standing up at the far end there, but right in the thickest. I can just see her ears, and then the rest of them have got heads up, but are still resting quite a bit. Seb, I think I'm going to just change our position a little bit and just see if we can't get a sort of better view of the actual pride itself. Now, isn't this cool though? So good to see the Nkuhumas. I love when we get to find them. They're such a cool pride, and generally are quite active actually. I've been very fortunate while I've been here that the Nkuhuma Pride has seemed to be a lot more active than some of the other prides that I've followed, and particularly the Birmingham boys, who tend to just really sleep most of the time. So there is one lioness that is just slowly moving off, and I'm going to try and keep up with her because I reckon the rest of the pride is slowly but surely going to follow her. You can see them all lying here, so all on our left hand side, but I'm going to go down to this female that's moving, and then like I say, hopefully the rest are going to start to follow. You can see her just moving off just in front of me here, so she's cutting across, and you can see what I mean about them being a little bit on the skinny side. They're not bad, but it would definitely could do with the meal. Simranjit, you're wondering if a lion's home range depends on certain factors. Well, there's two things. Firstly, lions don't really have a home range. They have a territory which they actively defend. A home range, it basically describes an area which animals will move around in loosely. They don't defend it, they don't have a territory, and they don't really look after it. And so that's the difference between a territory and a home range. The Nkuhuma Pride's territory is set up, and they will then try and defend it against others, and it will only move and shift and flow if there's sort of space for them to do that, and if there is a reason for it. In terms of what determines that territory, one is its density of other lions. So other lions that are in the area that will be either less sort of weaker or stronger will dictate whether they gain or lose ground. That's also, and then prey animals as well as resources like water. And so you'll find most prides will try and set up around a area with a healthy water source that is pretty permanent, and then as time goes on, if it gets to drought areas, then you'll find there's a bit more movement within those lions. But generally there's a high density like there is in this part of the world, then the lions can't move too much even when there's a drought, and they become either then less successful or more successful if they're able to either survive it or unfortunately not. Now, where has she gone? I don't see the rest of the pride. Yeah, comes the rest of the pride. They're just on our left, starting to move now, Seb. So it looks like the rest of them are starting to come down, and I would imagine if they're going to start moving, then the cubs will start coming as well. So Alex, you're 12 years old and you're a new viewer. Hello Alex, and welcome to the largest safari vehicle in the world, and I hope you're going to love spending time with us and ask lots of questions. And you want to know how long these cubs are going to stay with their moms. Well, the cubs will normally stay, if they're females, for the rest of their life. They will stay with the pride, they'll join the pride and become one with them, and they'll just become part of the pride itself. So they're never going to leave their mothers, really. If they're a boy lion, well, then they're going to unfortunately be chased off by the big daddy lions, and so they're going to end up being pushed out, and unfortunately will probably leave at around 3.5 to 4 years old, depending on how tolerant the male is. If he doesn't mind the cubs too much, then he'll sometimes let it slide to about 4 years, but most of the time it's between sort of 3 and 3.5 that they then get pushed out and have to go and fend for themselves, whereas the females will spend time doing their thing. Now you can see it is very thick in here, it is still misty, and so not easy to see where our lions are going. They look as though they might settle down again in that little thicket. I was hoping that they were going to come down. I see this lioness in front of me is now starting to walk again. She's also seems to be on some sort of a mission of her own. I wonder where she's off to. Let's see. Problem is she's heading north again, which is not what I wanted. I was hoping she was going to head south, but it seems like she's heading north, and this is pretty typical of the pride's movements this morning. They seem to be doing this kind of movement the whole morning, where they're just going back and forth and back and forth. And I don't know if maybe either they're looking for somebody or they're trying to find prey items inside these areas. But here comes another lioness. Oh, she is beautiful. Look at that. Is that not just the most wonderful thing? Seb, I'm going to try go forward a bit for you because that branch is in your way. There we go. Hopefully she's going to come through. But look at that in that golden morning light. Is that not wonderful? Absolutely amazing. And look at the size of these guys as they come past the car. They are massive. Even for females, the Nkuhuma Pride are really, really big girls. You can see the one female wants to go. She keeps stopping and looking behind her and hoping that the rest are following. Now there is another lioness that's just stopped and looked from behind her. She's in the long grass and slowly is coming now, and actually there come the rest of them. They're one by one starting to file down towards us. So we've seen 2 adult lionesses, and here comes another 2. So, Michael, you're wondering if any of the other lionesses have wounds. Not that I can see, Michael. It looks like all the rest are pretty okay. Now, this is the female that's got the cataract, or that eye that is deteriorating. So she's also here, and she looks as though she's absolutely fine with no visible sort of bite marks or anything like that. So they look okay. Now, let's see. The next female coming. Is this the one with the wounds on her? I think that might be Amber Eyes that's now coming at the back there. It could be her. I can't see nicely if it is. Hopefully she'll look this way and I'll be able to see. Are you going to look at us? Okay, there we go. So there's Amber Eyes. She's also here and is looking around and is looking as healthy as ever. So she's got no visible scarring on her. So these first 4 females, none of it. And there's just the one female that's got that scarring. And I wonder, some part of me thinks that maybe, just maybe, that female that's got all the wounds might have been the mother of that cub. And maybe, just maybe, tried to defend that cub in some situation, and that's why she's got hurt. The rest of them look all absolutely fine. There's no sort of scarring on them. We can see that Amber Eyes doesn't look as though she's got swollen teats. I'm not sure. So, Karen, you're wondering if they could be hurt by trying to get a kill. Well, Karen, it's possible that that could have happened, but I don't think so. I think the Nkuhuma Pride, the only time they would try and get a kill would be if it's from maybe a leopard. It's very seldom you'll find lions will try and steal from other lions unless it's a pride of 5 like this going after one female maybe. You'll find that generally they are pretty wary of other prides on a kill, and if it's males on a kill, then well, no, not at all. They're not going to go anywhere near it. We saw last week when they were on that kill with Tinyo how he was so dominant over that carcass. He pushed these lionesses away all the time, and he was really dominant over it, and a lot of threat displays, a lot of growling to try and ward them off. And so the females back down very quickly. The cubs are a little bit more cheeky, but the females themselves back down very fast. Just going forward here. Now, excuse me if I'm sniffling a little bit. It was really cold this morning, so the nose was running a little bit. So, dear watcher, you're asking whether the injuries could be from mating. Well, while that is a possibility, I don't think so. Given the reason why, and this is why I'll say this, is because if we look on the neck area of that injured lioness, she's got no sort of signs of bite marks on her neck, which is very common when mating. When they mate, the male will clamp down on the back of the neck and bite, and that causes a bit of loss of fur, which we don't see. Well, I haven't seen on that lioness with the injuries. It looks more like she was grabbed by the tail area and she was bitten on the tail and on the back leg, and that's what it looks like. Now, I think this is her coming along now, Seb, so let's have a look. Is this you, girl? It's difficult to see now where they're all going because they're all splitting into different directions, but I think this might be her. Yes, this is her with the wound. So you see on her back there, she doesn't have too much. It's on the inside of her leg and then one around the tail that has a bad wound there. So there you can see that big hole in her back. Now that's just from a tooth. That's plain and simple. That's what a tooth wound looks like. And while it looks really bad and really painful, and I'm sure it is a little bit painful, it will heal. That's nothing that we need to worry about too much. We know Mfumo had that big hole in his face, which was much worse than what you see on that tail, and his face would have been a place where there would have been lots of meat and all kinds of rotting stuff going into it, whereas her tail is going to be a little bit cleaner in terms of that, and she'll be able to groom it a lot more effectively than what Mfumo was able to groom his face. And so that wound, while it looks really bad, should heal up just fine, and she should be alright. The way she's walking is 100%. She was walking in front of me and there was no issues. Now it looks like they're actually going into stalk mode. You see this female here? She's changed her whole body language. She's now dropping a little bit lower, and I wonder if they haven't spotted something here. The body language of these lions is of one of that they've seen something, and they are now in hunting mode. They're all going a little bit more gingerly. They're all sort of standing up. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 right in the distance. They're all here. And let's see if she's going to lie down. She's going to sit down there and watch what's going to go on. Now, there's another lioness just into the front of her, and then the other 3 are all lined up straight behind this lioness. So there we go. And you can see they're definitely a lot more intent in what's going on. So, Pete, you're wondering if cats do all their hunting at night? Well, no. So, cheetah actually do most of their hunting during the day. Oh, hello, little cub. Where did you come from? And the lions actually, at any stage, they're opportunistic. So, as soon as there's any sign of food, they'll take it. So lions will hunt day and night, and same with leopard. I've seen leopards hunting at 12 o'clock midday in 42 degrees heat or 120 degree Fahrenheit, no problem. So they hunt at any time as long as the opportunity presents itself. But in saying that, the heightened level or period of activity for them to hunt is normally just after dusk and just before dawn. That's when they really start to concentrate on hunting. Hello, little one. Are you tired? Do you not want to be dragged around anymore? And the rest of them are slowly filtering through from the back as well. There they come. So HA, you're wondering if any of the cubs utilize the vehicle during a hunt. HA, I'm not sure. Oh, look at that. Isn't that amazing? Just loving seeing these little cubs getting so big. It really is cool. In terms of utilizing the vehicles for hunting, I haven't seen the cubs do that. To be honest, I think they're still too small to participate in hunt, and I haven't seen them come anywhere near the car. The last time I saw the Nkuhuma was trying to chase that leopard, all the cubs just lay down. And the good news is that all 6 are here. I can see now in this line, we've got 1 in front, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the 6th one right at the back. So all 6 are here, all 6 are healthy, but no sign of that little cub at all. So I wonder... I don't know if that little cub is still with us, to be honest. The fact of the matter is these Nkuhumas, none of them that we've watched coming past seem to be producing milk, and it just doesn't look like it at all. Now this little cub, it seems as though they've had a swat on the nose, this one in front. She's got a nice little scar across the muzzle. There we go. So you can just see it there. So it seems like they've had a run-in somewhere with somebody, and I wonder if that's maybe why they're not back in this area. This is so cool, just having them filing past us one by one. Wow, what a way to be starting the day, and especially to be coming back onto Djuma after a day off. Isn't this a fantastic way? Seb, are you happy?
I'm so excited.
Seb's happy too. Now, I think Ali might put me back on the couch again tonight, because she told me this morning if she didn't see wild dogs, she wanted to try find lions, and well, here they are. So hopefully they don't go north. Hopefully they'll still be around and she can come and see them this afternoon. But yes, she might put me back on the couch for finding lions. She loves lions, and well, it's hard not to love them when you have a situation like this and they're all just kind of filing past. But the females are on and off again and going further, so I'm going to try and just catch up with them. So Gillian, you're wondering why the big cats never walk with their tails straight up. Well, most of the cats that are out here in the wild don't do that. And the reason why is that a tail is very tall and generally has a bright marking towards the end of it. And that means that it gets seen by everything. And so when the big cats are walking, they want to try and keep that tail as low as possible to not give themselves away. So in the case of the lions, that black tip contrasts against the grass heavily, and prey animals are going to be able to spot that quite quickly. And so that's why they try and keep it down. In case of a leopard, they've got that very white tip to the tail, and the white tip of the tail is not going to be very good for when hunting. Now, like I said, the rest of the pride is moving off, so I'm going to try and catch up with them and see where they go, because they're going into a horrible area, and so hopefully we'll be able to get to where they are before they disappear. And while we do that, let's go across to Ali and see how her leopard tracking is going and whether or not she's had any luck with any animals at all.
Well done, Tristan! Very happy you guys managed to see the Nkuhumas today, and then they came back home after a few days of absence. Let's see what is up there. Are you going back? Seems like we've got a few funny birds all the way up in the tree, so let's just have a look and see what we're looking at this morning. Oh, my poor binoculars are steamy this morning. Like some sort of what's the name of that? Swallow. The ones at the bottom. So let's see which one of them all. Oh, beautiful. Good morning, little swallow. Now, it always becomes a bit tricky for me and swallows, just because I always start confusing their names. So I'm gonna quickly check on the book so that I don't lie to you and give you the wrong the wrong name for a swallow. Alright. Here we go. Alright. Now, this beautiful one has got a blue head from what I can see, a bit of a white chest, and, well, white throat, and then a red chest. So maybe this is more likely a musk swallow, it looks like. Just because, it's gone away. So let me just show you why I think it was a musk swallow with my one hand that might freeze over here, but we're all good. So it could have been this red swallow, but it had this little whitish area on top of its throat. So I'm more inclined to believe that it was this one over here, just because it had this white that the red-breasted swallow didn't have. Also, the musk swallow doesn't migrate as much as the red swallow does. So in wintertime, more likely it is this one than actually the red-breasted swallow who migrates and leaves us for the winter and goes into far warmer areas for the winter time, and then it'll come back in summer. So I think that's been decided. Musk swallow it was. Are they coming back onto the tree? I think maybe they have come back onto the tree. Just on the top over there. Hello, little one. So yes, we can see there the red chest starting to come through, and then the white throat. That's characteristic of this pretty little swallow that's been around here. We haven't had much luck though with our leopard tracking. Some things threw us off the track. It seems like they went into that fantastic and horrible block at the same time, where everything seems to go when they want to disappear from us. So we're going to do a bit of a loop around and see if we can find them, but I think we are being distracted by these beautiful birds. So hopefully this will be a new one on someone's list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them flying around. That's wonderful. Haven't seen them in quite a while, or at least haven't noticed that they've been around. Always good to come to the little water holes and see what's around. I think we are going to carry on, see if perhaps we can come across some more leopard tracks. I think the lions are sorted for the morning. So let's carry on, see if perhaps we can find any more tracks. And while we do that, let's go to Tristan, who's got a better view of the lions.
Well, our lions are just sitting, and you can see the cubs are watching the adults. The adults are walking down the road, and it looks like they're going to go into the impenetrable fortress that is on the right-hand side here. They keep staring in there, and earlier when I drove past here, there was a nyala down here, so I wonder if they're not stalking a nyala that's inside. But if they go into there, it's going to be impossible for us. We will not be able to get in there with them and be able to follow them at all. So hopefully they just walk parallel with it. But you can see Amber Eyes. Look at how she's getting low to the ground. She's slinking along. And look how fast she walks. She's always on a mission, Amber. She seems to always be getting up to something. And she's the last one. All the other lionesses have already gone in that direction and have moved off into that thicket. So I'm going to try and just catch up with them. The cubs have all laid down as though they can see now that the adults are serious about something. And so hopefully they'll just stay there for now and bring the lionesses back to them just now. Let's see. So there's one lioness lying over there. Now Mita, who's 8 years old. Mita, you want to know how many of the cubs are male and how many of them are female? Mita, I'm not 100% sure, to be honest with you. Every time I see the Nkuhuma Pride, I get so excited I forget to actually sex them. So some of you out there might know and can help myself and Mita out and let us know how many you think. But I think it's 5 females and 1 male, but I could be wrong. There might be 2 males, but there's definitely 1 little boy inside there, and the rest, there's quite a few females as well. So I think it's either 4 and 2 or 5 and 1. But I'm sure some of you out there may be able to help us. Like I say, I always just get so into the fact that I'm seeing the Nkuhuma Pride that I forget to actually sex them, Mita. So it's my fault, and hopefully we will be able to sort of count them today. Maybe today is the day that we make 100% sure, and you can help me do it when the little cubs come past us, if they do. Now you can see this is the lioness with the little hole on her tail, and the one that's battling a little bit in terms of that wound. Now I think Abel wants to get past me, so I'm just going to move quickly, Seb, to let him pass us. Thanks, Abel. I mean Aubrey, not Abel. Aubrey, sorry. I said Abel, but I meant Aubrey. I don't know why I said Abel. For some reason my mind is not working the way it should be. Saranjit from India, you wanted to know if there's any way that you can age a male or female lion. Well, it depends. I mean, it's not easy, and it's a rough estimate that you can make given their size, the yellowing of their teeth, the color of their nose can sometimes be an indication, not always, but sometimes. So it just depends on those factors. But with males, also size of the mane, size of the body can help you in determining what the lion's age is. But it's not exact science, and I've seen lions with very small manes that are actually quite old and with very, very, very pink noses, and so you can't always use those. But generally, if you look at the sort of coloration of the teeth, the more yellow the teeth are, the older that lion or lioness is. And then also mane size does help with that, size of the body, ear condition of the ears, color of the nose. All of those linked together can give you a fairly good indication of how old a individual is, and like I say, it's a rough estimate. Now we're going to stay with our Nkuhuma Pride for as long as they'll allow us, because I don't think we're going to be able to follow them for the next, I would say, 10 minutes if they start moving, because this thicket on our left hand side is literally impenetrable. And so while we do that, let's go across to Ali, who I believe has got 3 of the most beautiful raptors anyone could wish to see.
Seems like it's been a good run for the birds. Now, we've got 3 Bateleur or short-tailed eagles on this tree. And it's quite unusual to see 3 of them. Now, Bateleurs are the type of eagle that they form monogamous pairs, so they will choose a partner and they will stay with that partner until that partner dies, and then they will find a new one. But now we've got 3 of them. And normally eagles are territorial and they don't particularly allow any other eagles to come close to them. So my guess is that one of these eagles is actually one of their youngsters or one of their previous offspring, because they wouldn't allow another eagle that they're not related to just to sit around in this area and hang out with them. So they've...
Excuse us, no, wipe the lens.
Oh, sorry, Fergie's just going to help us see clearly, so he's going to wipe the lens quickly. There we go, now we can see a lot better. It's almost like waking up and wiping our eyes. Oh, look at that, they're grooming each other. Ah, this is great. Somebody didn't like it. This is a very special moment that we're looking at. We don't get to see. We see them often flying around and not too far from each other, but to see the both of them grooming, this is something very, very special. And of course, it serves the same purpose as when lions and leopards groom each other, just maintaining good social relationships, getting rid of that bit of extra parasites around. Just keeping good relationship altogether. But this is wonderful. You don't get to see this all too often. Oh, somebody's got a knotty feather there. So yeah, I know it looks quite tough, but I'm sure that they're not hurt. He's not, or the one that's doing it. I can't see if it's the male or the female, but they're just helping each other, and it's not in any way hurtful. Catherine, you say this is gorgeous. I agree with you. It's a very special sighting. It's definitely not something we get to see every day. And there was a rogue feather that was not where it was supposed to be, so it seems like it pulled it out. Seems like the one that's doing all the grooming, just judging by the lack of a white underwing, seems to be the male to me. And I can't really see if the one behind the trees has got the white, which would indicate that it's a female. R. Lara Moore, you say this is very sweet. I agree. It gives a bit of a different insight to the life of these predators, doesn't it? Even these birds of prey, we tend to think of them as such strong and powerful creatures, but just to see what happens sometimes behind the scenes type of thing, or how they maintain social relationships, and just to see their vulnerable side, let's put it that way, I think it is quite incredible. Now the grooming the other way. So this helps also maintain all the feather conditions, just making sure that all the feathers that are, let's say, starting to get damaged, that they get pulled out and hopefully replaced by the new ones. Oh, that's wonderful. I don't think I've ever seen Bateleurs groom each other before, so this is a first sighting for me, and I'm quite excited about it. Just look how many feathers they got. You can see just how deep the beak has to go into the skin to be able to get there. Temba, you say you're wondering what they're whispering about. I don't know. I think maybe it's a bit of a private conversation between very close family members. Beautiful. We're going to stay around with them for a little bit longer, see what the third one decides to go. But while we do that, let's go over to Tristan, who's going to give us one last look of the lions. Why? Where are the lions going?
Well, unfortunately not, because the lions that were all on the road have now crossed into a thicket, so that's the end of that for now. I'm going to try and get around and see if I can't find them. They were kind of all sitting on the road itself, and then they've gone into a very dense thicket, and whether or not we can even get to where they are is going to be interesting in its own right. But I'll try my very best to try and get there, but it gets very steep and very treacherous inside there, and not an area that is easy to follow at all. But, well, let's see how we go. Just need to negotiate this rough little dip here and see if we can't get onto the other side of this drainage. Alright, lions. Hopefully they're not going to lie down inside. If they lie down inside, then unfortunately for us, that will be the end of the Nkuhuma Pride for the morning. We won't be able to get to where they will be if they are down inside there. But I'm hoping that what they're going to do is just continue up and out and into this section here. And this is an area that I've seen them lying before. Yeah, let's go in here, Seb. Now, these two big trees, this torchwood on the right and then the one further on, are great landmarks, and those are the ones that I was looking for when we were watching that pride disappear, and they seem to be heading towards that southern tree. So we're going to try and see if I can't get there, but oof, it's going to be tough. Now while I try and see if I can find these lions and see where they've gone. Let's go back to Ali and her beautiful Bateleur eagles.
Well, this is the third one, the one that doesn't seem to be too loved by the bottom two, and I'm still trying to figure out if the bottom one, if one of them is a female. And it could be also that there are two males trying to court the female and trying to win her favor. But I think all the grooming has now stopped, and they're all quite steady there. Oh, sorry, you just had your head hiding in somebody else's feathers. Unfortunately, my binoculars are still quite a bit wet from all the dew, so I don't think I'm able to see. But I would say very good chance that that one that's being groomed at the moment, that is the female, and the other one is a male. And the reason why I say this is because they seem to have a white underwing missing. Michael, you're wondering how big they are in comparison to a harrier hawk or some of the other eagles. Well, they are slightly smaller than a tawny eagle, bigger than a harrier hawk, I would say. Also, just sturdier in comparison to a harrier hawk, and but definitely smaller than vultures and some of the other bigger birds of prey that we get around here. I would say maybe they are in comparison to the size of a small dog. Beautiful. Hello guys. You enjoying the morning now that the mist is gone? Seems like you are. Wonderful. Seems like Tristan's on a roll today and he managed to find a better view of the lion, so let's go over to him and see how the Nkuhumas are doing.
Indeed we have. We've gotten lucky that they've come straight out of this riverbed and out and into the open again. So really fortunate for us, and hopefully they're going to lead us to where the females are, because this is all little cubs that we've got here, and they're walking slowly but surely sort of in a westerly direction, and I'm hoping that if we just keep up with them, we'll be able to find the females as well. But they were very kind to us that they came out of this horrible drainage system, because otherwise we would never have been able to keep up with them. It would have been almost impossible to follow them in those thickets, and so I'm super glad that they have come out. Let's see, how am I going to negotiate this from here now? This is the problem. This area is not friendly. Herbie and I walked around here the other day and he was showing me a few of the pathways to use to try and negotiate this area, but even he was saying that it's really tough to be able to find ways through here, and it eventually kind of takes you out towards Gallagher's shortcuts or even Gallagher Pan. But to get to there from here is an absolute mess and tangle of drainage systems and trees and thickets, and not easy at all. While it's perfect for the lions to move around in, not great for us to try and negotiate with the car. Now all of our cubs are just here on the right hand side. I don't know where the females are. I've had no sight of them. It's just the little cubbies that are sitting here in the sunshine, and I think they're trying to work out where moms have gone as well. They were watching, and I'm sure they've seen where they are, and they also have very sensitive noses, which means they would be able to probably smell where all the moms are and aunties are, and they'll then go that way. So Roshni, you say the cubs still have their spots. When does it fade? Well, Roshni, even some of the adults will retain their spots, particularly on the legs and the tummy. It just gets very, very faint, but they already are much less spottier than what they were when they were born. Their spots are starting to fade. And if you look at the younger one in front, if its legs, it's difficult because it's moving quite quickly, but the youngest one and the smallest one's spots are quite evident, whereas the other ones are slowly starting to fade now, and by the time they reach adults 3-4 years old, then those spots will be very faded and very difficult to actually see. Right, where are you guys going to go from here? There's definitely one that leads this group. It's quite interesting to watch. There's It almost looks like the young male. I can't see nicely, but there's definitely one that goes in front all the time, and the rest of them watch and follow that young cub. So even in this little group, there's almost like a leader that is developed amongst them and leads them around and shows them the ways that they need to move. Now you can hear Franklin that's busy alarm calling, and so the lions are all stopping just to watch and see. Maybe that's mom in front that they need to worry about, and so you can see that instinct is there already when an alarm call starts, to stop and to listen and to take note of what is going on. Now, we don't need our windscreen wipers on. For a second there we had the windscreen wipers on, and we definitely don't need those two lights on, so let's get rid of those. Seb, are you ready to get a couple of thorn trees thrown our way? Yeah, it's time for a real bundu bashing session. And I think we've interrupted somebody going to the loo as well. There we go. So there's one of our beautiful cubs just going for a little wee. Isn't that nice in that golden morning light? So good to see them. So, Michael, you're wondering if the absence of the Birmingham boys is affecting the Nkuhumas. Well, there's not really an absence of Birmingham boys. Just because we're not seeing them every day on the drives does not mean that they're not around. They actually are around. They're patrolling heavily, in fact, far more than they used to, which is only a good thing. It means that they're keeping other male lions at bay. So the Birminghams are still around. We know we saw Tinyo with the Nkuhumas the last time we saw them, and he was with them for about 3 days. So they are still with the Birminghams, and the Birminghams are around. It's just that we haven't been seeing them here. They tend to keep crossing over our area much quicker, and so they are in Manyuleti, they're in the west, they're on the south of Djuma, and that means that they're protecting it from everywhere. So no, I don't think it's affecting them too much at all. I think they're just fine on their own, and they are a successful bunch of females, so they'll be able to make the kills that they need to survive as well. Right, let's see if I can't get through. Seb, this is going to be very thick.